Yes, because the security apparatus permeate both the Iranian economy and Tehran regional policy. So President Rouhani challenge will be very strong because he has to deliver on his promises to enable the lifting of US non-nuclear related sanctions, what he promised to the Iranian citizen during the presidential campaign. But this will be very difficult because he's not in charge of Iranian regional policy, and there is a direct link between US unilateral sanctions against Iran and Iran regional foreign policy, especially its support to Hezbollah, Hamas, and some Shia militia in Iraq also. These groups are considered by the US as terrorists, and there's a legal basis for sanctioning Iran. So to be successful, President Rouhani should overcome the challenge of the control of the security apparatus regarding Iran regional policy. And also on the internal scene, he will have to challenge the economic interest of the Revolutionary Guards. They are involved in the Iranian economy along the religious foundation, the Bonyat, and this venture interest will feel threatened by President Rouhani's objective to increase the share of Iranian private sector inside the Iranian economy. And if Rouhani signs many economic deals with European companies, that will be perceived as a threat to the economic interests of the Revolutionary Guard. And also on the ideological side, the supreme leader and the non-elected institution in Iran are afraid of this private sector empowering the Iranian civil society and providing the ground for the democratization of Iran. Iran is characterized as an hegemonic power by its regional rivals, especially Israel and Saudi Arabia. Since the Islamic Revolution, this country felt threatened by the revolutionary rhetoric of the Iranian state. But it's not because Iran is empowered since the 2003 US invasion of Iraq that this is a consequence of an hegemonic regional policy. It's more defensive policy and a reactive policy following the military intervention of the US, especially in Afghanistan 2001 and in Iraq. Since that time and after the Arab Spring, the potential for Iran to increase its regional influence was increased by the failure of the Arab states, especially in Syria, in Iraq, and now in Yemen. But it's not because Iran is involved in regional conflicts that is a strong regional power. Also, the small states perceive Iran as a regional hegemon, especially Bahrain, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. But this is not due to religious regions, the Sunni-Shia divide, the so-called Sunni-Shia divide, but it's related to the size of the state. Iran is 80 million people and is a big country in the region. President Rouhani will have to engage with regional rivals in order to start a mutually beneficial dialogue with Saudi Arabia if he wants to normalize the international relation of Iran. This year, Iranian pilgrims will be back in Mecca, so this is the first step. The two pilgrims organizations negotiate directly for this new step in the engagement between Tehran and Riyadh. And also these two countries were able to secure an OPEC deal in order to increase the oil prices and to cut the oil production. So they have also some shared religious and economic interests that could be the basis for the improvement of relations between Iran and its neighbors. The terrorist attack by Daesh, the so-called Islamic State in Tehran, were not a surprise for the Iran watcher, because Daesh threatened to attack Iran many times in the last few months, and especially since the proclamation of the so-called caliphate in 2014. Iran has a big Sunni minority. 15% of the population in Iran is Sunni, and the jihadists who attack the parliament and the mausoleum of Ayatollah Rouhani were all Iranian from the Kurdistan region. So Iran was not able to provide security to these two very symbolic building of the Islamic Republic, and this is a failure of the security apparatus. It's not under the responsibility of President Rouhani, but the non-elected institution and the security services will try to portray this attack as a consequence of the policy of opening of President Rouhani towards the West. The Revolutionary Guards already blame the West and Saudi Arabia for this attack. So I think that there is a lot of conspiracy theory regarding this attack. On the Iranian side, the non-elected institutions are saying that Saudi Arabia and Daesh are the same thing, and there is no operational link between Saudi Arabia and Daesh. And also on the US side, many conspiracy theories saying that Iran was not attacked by Daesh until this terrorist attack, because they are in league. So I think on both sides, the threat assessment should be more rational and less conspirationist. Iran is not the main reason behind Saudi Arabia and its allies cutting their diplomatic relation with Qatar. But the risk of this blockade from Saudi Arabia and its allies against Qatar is to push Qatar towards rapprochement with Russia, Turkey, and Iran. Iran already provides food to Qatar, and also they have the biggest gas field in the world, what we call the North Dome in Qatar and South Pars in Iran. So they have to find a modus vivendi between Doha and Tehran, and Saudi Arabia cannot do a lot to push Qatar away from an entente or cordial relation, at least, with Tehran. This is based on realpolitik. But I think that Iran is also a reason behind the tension in the Gulf right now, because Iran will try to take advantage of the division between the Arab state of the Persian Gulf. And also Iran is perceived as an Islamist threat by many countries in the region, especially Bahrain, because there is a strong Shia population in Bahrain. And also the divide is between Islamism and anti-Islamist country. So it's not anymore being Shia and Sunni, it's more between pro-Islamist and anti-Islamist states in the region. And I think that political Islam is also a base of the understanding between Doha and Tehran. And I think that the main reason behind Saudi Arabia cutting its relation with Qatar is the Muslim Brotherhood and not Iran. And Iran will compete, I think, now with Turkey to become a partner of Qatar in the region if the crisis lasts for some months or some years.